Look, this video might annoy some of you because you realise you've been wasting so much time. If you're marketing a B2B business, followers do not matter, likes do not matter, views do not matter, and no one gives a shit if you go viral. And so often I speak to B2B business owners and marketing teams who are obsessed with their follower numbers. But why? Remember what you're actually trying to do. You're a B2B business selling niche product or service to a very specific kind of buyer, not going after the mass market, not trying to become an influencer and reach the most amount of people and get the most amount of engagements and likes as possible. That is not what you're trying to do. Chasing likes, followers, or views is stupid because the truth is the amount of people that can buy from you is relatively tiny. It is in the hundreds, probably, maybe the thousands, not the millions. And realistically, for the next 6 months, your entire world of potential buyers you'll be going after is probably a few hundred people. So let's work out the maths together on why you should focus your marketing on those few hundred people for the next 6 months to win more deals. Let's say you're in the marketing team for an industrial manufacturer who builds custom metal components for conveyor systems in warehouses. Proper industrial, no glamour, no hype. For whatever reason internally, you've set a goal around increasing your LinkedIn followers and you're posting and bending over backwards trying to make new content for it. Great if you're getting a few more likes here and there, but the reality is it's not from the people that buy from you. If you actually map out who could potentially buy your product, you realise you don't need to be chasing impressions and thousands of followers. Right now in the UK, there are about 300 to 400 companies that could actually buy from them. Inside each company, there are maybe 2 or 3 relevant decision makers that would be involved in their decision making process. Some of the bigger companies might have a few more people, different types of job titles, whether they work in operations, procurement, engineering managers. Some of the smaller companies, it might be director, managing directors, founders, team leaders, etc. But the whole universe for this company, their whole buying market of maybe 300 to 400 companies, maybe 2 to 3 people, is probably capped at 1,000 individuals. Just that. Not 10,000, not 100,000, not a million. About 1,000 tops. And their whole marketing strategy is impressing people who don't know about them, don't care about them, and won't buy from them. Chasing engagement that at the end of the day means absolutely nothing, and you can't pay your bills and you can't pay your staff with followers and engagement. On top of that, the reality is for a market like this, maybe only 5 to 10% of buyers are actually ready to buy, right? So out of those 1,000 individuals at the 300 to 400 companies that we care about, there might actually only be 50 to 100 people who can make that buying decision in the next month or 2. That's your real audience and the number you need to care about. The tricky thing is you don't know who that 5 to 10% who are actively in buying mode right now are. And the other 95 to 90% might be in the next 6 months, 12 months, and they will come into play. So it's ultimately pointless getting excited about hitting 12,000 impressions on a LinkedIn post because the reality is most of those are recruiters, people trying to sell to you, and your mates from school. They don't matter. They aren't going to help the bottom line of your business. And it's frustrating to see marketing teams for B2B businesses struggling so hard for organic content. I'm not saying you should never post organic content, but the reality is tracking those numbers probably isn't actually getting you any closer to the small amount of individuals who can buy from you. Because the likelihood is they never saw those posts. They were never in that audience. They were never one of those impressions. The goal is pretty simple. You need to get the 50 to 100 people who can buy now to see your messaging consistently and frequently. And if you map out the time between a B2B buyer not knowing who you are to feeling comfortable enough to make a decision and say yes and trust you, that could take a lot of touch points over the course of sometimes a few months, sometimes a few years. And how can we accelerate that process for the 50 to 100 people who might be ready to buy now, and also the rest of those 1,000 key individuals over the next 6 to 12 months? What we do for businesses like this industrial manufacturer is we create LinkedIn ad campaigns, super targeted LinkedIn ad campaigns based on 2 primary audiences. One of those audiences is we're going to actually find, create, and input to LinkedIn those exact companies who could possibly buy from you. We're going to segment that list then down by the specific job titles that our clients transact with and that make the decisions. Not enough B2B businesses know this, but you can literally upload lists of specific companies as an audience to LinkedIn. You can rip that from your CRM, you can create it from scratch, or you could base it off a third-party list that you might have access to. And then segmenting it down by the exact job title you transact with, you're making sure you get in front of those 1,000 individuals in that bigger audience and the 50 to 200 individuals who could make a decision every single day. For as little as £20 a day, you can be guaranteeing the audience is seeing your business day in, day out, 24/7 when they're pretending to look busy on LinkedIn in between meetings. And those extra touch points breed familiarity, trust, awareness. And if you actually create some decent advertising campaigns that grab their attention, persuade them to visit your website, and help get them over the line, you're more likely to win their business. The second audience we often use is retargeting audiences. We input a tiny little tracking thing on the website called the LinkedIn Insight tag. There's also ones for Meta and Google, which record the visitors coming to your site and the actions they take. It's the same technology whenever you go to look for car insurance or a holiday or a pair of trainers. Next time you're on social media, that's pretty much all you see, right? Think of the power that technology has for a niche specific, boring B2B business. No one's stumbling upon an industrial supplier for a laugh. No one happens to find the website. They're in the industry, they're in the market, they're probably evaluating your business against 5 to 10 other suppliers, or they're following up from an email your team sent or something they saw at a conference, whatever it might be. For a lot of niche B2B businesses, none of your competitors will have this retargeting pixel installed. You could be the only one in your industry showcasing specific tailored ads on LinkedIn to the people in the market visiting yours and your competitors' websites. Again, fast tracking that trust, familiarity, and ultimately making the decision easy for them to pick you as their supplier of choice. It's probably the case for about 60% of our niche specific, boring and unsexy B2B clients. They're the only ones implementing this strategy properly. And ultimately, it means they're dominating their tight focus industries because there's not a lot of people in it. The likelihood is for most niche B2B businesses, you haven't got tens of thousands of website visitors, right? Again, it's a small pool of audience, small pool of people that doesn't actually take much budget for you to make an impact and make a dent and get in front of them all the time. Because you don't need loads of followers, you don't need to go viral, you just need the right people to see you frequently. So let's break this down and recap cleanly. You do not need followers. Your buyers are not your followers. Also, organic reach most of the time is irrelevant. Often we speak to clients where even when they're good on organic social media, it's often within an echo chamber. Most of their followers will be people in their industry, people they already know, and people that are trying to sell to them, not their potential customer base. Thousands of impressions to random people that are never going to buy from you means literally nothing. But 100 impressions to the exact right people could mean everything. And again, don't skimp out on retargeting, because even if you've got as low as 200 to 300 website visitors a month, that shows you've got demand, you're just not following up from it. So over the next 30 days, what you should probably do is install that LinkedIn Insight tag. Build that list of companies that you should actually be selling to, or the dream companies that you want to work with. Create a LinkedIn ads account and build those audiences out on it. And then run 1 or 2 simple ads. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It could be a client testimonial with some simple images. It could be a video shot like this to an iPhone where you're talking through your sales pitch. If you're struggling with ideas for what to run as your advertising campaigns, you're unsure of it, then pop your website down below and I'll give you 3 free advertising campaigns for your boring business. If you know that you won't be able to get the hang of LinkedIn ad campaigns and not very tech savvy and want someone to manage it for you to avoid all the mistakes, then there should be a link below and you can book in a call with me. But ultimately, you can do this. And if you've got a boring B2B business, remember, followers mean nothing. You want to reach your buyers more often to close more deals.